Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Port Center Spotlight Podcast. I am here with Principal Mesnick, HBE School here in Port Jervis. Welcome, Miss Mesnick.
Thank you, Mr. Murata.
It is a beautiful day up here at HBE. Spring is in the air. Literacy night last night. So many good things happening. If you are watching the show live, jump in and say hello. If you're an HBE alum, jump in. A Port Jervis graduate, jump in and say hello. We are going to talk a lot of community connections here with Principal Mesnick. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, excited to have you. We've had so many of your kids on here.
Yes.
We've highlighted a lot. You've been on the Port Pride Minute. Good things happening. But you really, Ms. Mesnick, wanted to talk about Port Pride, how much you enjoy working here, your upbringing here. So let's get right to it. You were a Port student for your whole career.
Absolutely. I walked into this building, into HBE in 1983 as a kindergarten student. And I like to say HBE has been my home for over about 40 years. And, you know, it's just a very neat perspective to have.
Wow. Really? So much history. And your family before you came.
Absolutely. My parents are both Port Jervis graduates. My children will both be Port Jervis graduates. My grandfather, all my aunts, uncles.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of it.
Are you like one of these Port Jervis people here, and so many, Dr. Bell, that know everything every year? You know the things that happen. You have like one of those memories?
Yep. And all the connections, and I'm probably related to half of them. So
it's the Rolodex. It's the Port Jervis Rolodex.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Cool. Rena Ebike's watching.
Oh, hi, Rena.
Miss Babcock, hello.
Yep, Aunt Linda.
So many connections. So let's start. You had a good experience as a kid here?
Wonderful experience. I was a student here from kindergarten through sixth grade. Phenomenal teachers that I had when I went to school here. You know, I still keep in touch with them. It means a lot too. I think the culture that we have here at HBE is once you're a part of the HBE school, you're a part of our home forever. Wow. We like to say in our alma mater, HBE is the place that we call home. And we say that to all of our students. It's a place that I've called home for about 40 years. And I want everybody to feel that when they come through.
Do you remember the feeling as a sixth grader, like, oh my God, I'm going to the big bad middle school, and were kind of a little afraid to leave?
I don't think so. I think I was ready, you know, when it was time. I remember the feeling when I walked in my first day of kindergarten. I remember getting off the bus. I remember getting off the bus. I remember my older brother, Patrick, walking me to my class. My teacher was Mrs. Greaves, who still comes back to sub here. So I remember every minute of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that must help you now as principal when you see these kids to know that you were literally right there.
Absolutely. Wow. I think it gives me a very interesting perspective as a principal because I was a student here from kindergarten through sixth grade. And then I grew up. I became a teacher. I was a teacher here. I taught different grade levels when I was a teacher here. My children went to school here. So I was a parent of two children that were HBE students. So when the job opened for an assistant principal, I came back as the assistant principal, and then I got the job as a principal. So I've worn student, parent, teacher, assistant principal, and principal hats for this building. Wow. So when I'm looking at any situation, I can look at it from all of those different perspectives. I can look at it from a parent's perspective, a student's perspective, a teacher perspective. And I think it makes me a very well-rounded administrator.
Yeah. And when you were teaching over in that school that wears blue, 30 minutes away here, our friends over in Middletown, was there part of you though that you were always kind of looking like that's where I want to be?
Always knew it. When I was there, I loved working in Middletown. I taught in Middletown for 8 years. I made wonderful connections. And it was a wonderful job. I had wonderful friends, but there was always a piece of my heart. When I would stand at that bell game, I could not wear blue to that bell game. My heart was here.
Wow, that's awesome. So you graduate Port Jervis High School. You were involved in cheer. What were some things that stand out from your time in high school?
I think from high school, I remember almost everybody I went to high school with. I remember everybody I was graduating with, and it was the type of class where everybody got along. We were all friends, and it can be 10, 15, 20 years, and I bump into somebody and it's a hug and a how you doing and a catch up. It's never, I know some people who will go to high school people and they'll see them and be like, oh, I don't want to see, like they'll try to avoid it, but that's not me at all. Like I love all the connections I have with people. I love bumping into people. It's nice. It's a nice place to be from. And I loved middle school. When I went to middle school, I had phenomenal middle school teachers. I loved my teachers in the high school. Like, it really was a wonderful place to be a student.
Wow. We're going to get into some pictures here of some family in a little bit. So you went to college. Where did you go?
I went to SUNY Orange, did my associates, and then I went to SUNY New Paltz and did my bachelor's. I commuted over there. And I lived over there my last semester when you're in class every day and getting ready for student teaching. Then I did when I was teaching in Middletown, my first master's through NYIT. It's a technology master's that Middletown Teacher Center offered. And then I did my second master's through LIU, and that was the Master's for Educational Leadership.
And here she is putting that leadership into action. Hello, Ms. Van Horn. Hello, friends. Again, please let us know where you're watching from. Port Jervis grad, Port Jervis alum. We have both here, an alum and an employee here with us, and excited to talk to Ms. Mesnick today. Emily, you're in your third year as principal. Again, you've worn all those hats. Mm-hmm. It's a hard job being principal. For those fellow principals that have done it, it's a challenging job. Mm-hmm. What's something that comes relatively natural to you, maybe easier? And what's something that has been a challenge for you to learn and grow in the aspect of being a principal?
Right. I think something that comes natural is just my being able to interact with children and parents. I think as a teacher, that was always one of my strong points. I never hesitated to call parents. I would rather call more than wait for them to call me. I'd rather be proactive in that. So I enjoy the communication. I enjoy seeing my students. Like I said, I live here, so I'll be shopping in Walmart or ShopRite, and I'm bumping into kids and parents, and I always want to stop and talk to them. I love that communication. I think a part that's hard, I started as principal coming at the tail end of the pandemic. I was an assistant principal during the pandemic, and I think that was a challenge, because we had to adapt to all of the situations that were coming at us. A lot of them we knew were not great for kids. Kids need to communicate. They need to be able to see each other. They need all those pieces, but we also had guidance that we had to follow, and that was difficult. I think having my first year as principal, we were still wearing masks for the first 6 months of the school year. So I think that coming out of that was a challenge.
Yeah. And thank God that time is over. It was hard in so many ways. Right. I lost track of the kids' names. I couldn't call them by their name.
Right. Yeah. And then trying to, I think being told that you're supposed to stay your distance. I'm a hugger. When I see my kids, I want to hug them. And, that to me would take a little piece of my heart, but I would always try to sneak in, a little hug, because I can't not.
There's so many great programs here. There's so many great people. Your Wednesdays, your arrivals on Wednesdays. Yes. We got to hear the music. We got to be here for that featured. If you look back at our content, tell me about that Wednesday, the theme and changing it and all that kind of stuff.
Sure. So we have our Positive Affirmation Wednesdays. We, as a staff, we wear shirts that all have different positive messages on them. I have a shirt that says "You Matter." I have other ones that say "Be kind." And the staff will all wear these shirts. The students have picked up on it. They'll wear the shirts. We play over the loudspeaker a positive affirmation song as the students are coming in on Wednesdays. I really believe you see it, you hear it, you feel it. And that's what we want. And sometimes the middle of the week's the hardest part of the week to get through. Monday you're coming off the weekend, Friday you're heading into the weekend, but Wednesdays, that can be a difficult day. So we want to make sure our students are feeling that positivity, midweek.
Just walking through the doors here, the adults, they're out, they're smiling, they're high-fiving. It was awesome. And you had literacy night last night.
Last night,
Yeah,
yes.
in the squalls,
In the school,
storm.
we had about 50 families come out. We
Wow.
had so many teachers here at different stations. We had activities. Food service put out a beautiful spread. Kim Eichel, our literacy coach, who's wonderful, she organized the event, and it was just a great thing to be a part of.
Yeah.
Really great.
So many HBE is the place to be. So many great things happening involving the community. You do that color run is an event up here.
Coming up in May.
So exciting. So many good things. This is a special time for you. Your children are both in the high school. Your daughter, Mia, just starred as Belle in the play.
She did.
What was that like for you watching? You take off your principal's hat, maybe 3/4, you still have it on, but you're there watching as a mom of someone who went to school here. What was that like for you?
I think it was a long journey that Mia and I traveled together. When she was in 3rd grade, she was in the high school production of Peter Pan. She was a lost boy. And that Mrs. Gordon hooked her right from the beginning. And after that, she was in all the different dramas, the musicals. She did a lot of stuff. We would go down to New York City. She was in the Macy's parade. She performed on Broadway with Rocktopia. She had such an experience. She opened for the Radio City Rockettes one year for Christmas. So we were able to travel to all of these amazing places. And throughout all that, even though she has a car, she drives now, I always drove her to her voice lessons. It was really important for me to just have that time with her. The time's fleeting with your children when they get older.
Listening at the door.
I was sitting in the room. But it was very special for us. And then this past weekend, to see all of those years of hard work and to see what she could do on her own. She didn't need me for that. She was on her own. And knowing it was her last show, her last high school show, she's going to college to be a teacher. So she's not a theater major. So, it very well could be the last show that she's in. It tugged at the heart. I'll be honest, it did. But at the same time, you're so unbelievably proud. I'm so proud of her and all that she's done.
Yeah. You when you were walking in, it was like your feet weren't touching the floor. But Mia, if you're watching, you were absolutely outstanding. I mean, I was crying and watching how beautiful the whole thing was, but that had to be emotional for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. There's just such a sense of pride.
Yeah.
Such a sense of pride. And along with, not just Mia, all of the kids that were in it, there was a whole bunch of ASK kids and HBE kids that I knew through the years. And, you're so proud of all of them. You've seen them from when they were little all the way up. And that is such a special, wonderful group of children. What a beautiful cast.
Awesome. And your son, Kevin, is a high schooler, very involved in athletics, high academics. He won the Kuykendall Award in middle school. So it's just so well-rounded. What is that like, being in the stands at Kevin's games and watching him? He played varsity, he hit the shot to win the game last summer. So many great achievements there. What's that like for you and your husband to go on that journey?
It really, between both of my children, it shows you all that Port Jervis has to offer, because my daughter has been able to excel in the arts because of the arts department here in Port Jervis, music and arts. My son is an athlete, so he is benefiting from all of the athletics that we offer. We have JJ Gass as our athletic director, and he's done such a phenomenal job. Corey Popola was his basketball coach. He's wonderful. Right now he's in baseball with Jason Gunderman, like all of these wonderful coaches. I have one student, music and arts. I have one student that's athletics. And I think that they're both having these amazing experiences, even though they're completely different, because Port Jervis does have something for everybody.
Wow. With the big A in the middle, they're both high academic students, really grades and doing really well. And Mia's going to follow in your footsteps going to New Paltz.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Let's bring it back here to HBE. Walk me through a day. The kids come, you're outside, the whole building's there. Now you come in, you're the principal. Yeah. What does a day look like for you?
Well, I always make sure I start and end my day with my announcements. I think it's a great way to open up the day for the students. They hear my voice. And then I go around and I greet every classroom. I see every teacher. I see the students. I say good morning. I say good morning to the students. I think it's important that they see me. And then I'll go back to my office, catch up on some emails and some phone calls. And then it's time for lunches. And I'm always in the cafeteria checking in with the students during lunch. I check in with the cafeteria staff. And then by the time we finish lunches, I'm between there and going outside to check in with them at recess. And then I go back to my office, finish up on some, calls, emails, meetings, whatever we have. And then it's time to end the day with announcements. And what's cute, yesterday afternoon, I was just walking the halls a little at the end of the day. It was probably like 10 minutes to 3. And a little boy came up to me and said, "Aren't you supposed to be ready for announcements?" And I said, "You're right." I said, "I have 6 minutes. I'm going to make it back there. I'll be up there for announcements." They know my voice. They expect to hear it. And I love that.
Yeah. And you've gotten really good on the announcements. You
Yeah.
can hear it when you're here in the morning, the positive messages and fun sayings. Again, a lot of people watching live, jump in, leave Ms. Mesnick a comment here or a question, and certainly join in the show. It's really a wonderful place up here. Everyone who's around here says it. But you, Ms. Mesnick, as the principal, you get to have such a deep impact on what happens, staff and students. How do you feel about that responsibility to know that you can create new teachers? You can create these kids. There's so much they can do, and you really have an opportunity to have a deep influence on that. What's that like for you?
I think my interactions with my staff, it all goes back to relationships. Everything we do in this business starts at a relationship. Any person that I hire, that I bring onto our team, I want to know not just, their name. I want to know their stories. I want to know their family, their children. And they always keep me updated on these things. That's very important to me, that I am here for them, whether they need me, personally, professionally. I think all of those relationships are so important, and it means so much to me. I respect and I genuinely adore the people that I have on staff here. Like, they really are phenomenal individuals and dynamic teaching. Mainly because I don't have a better word. The teachers here are amazing, and they love the children. They love what they do. And I think when you go through the building, you feel a genuine sense of happiness because people are happy. We're happy here.
Yeah, and you can tell it. Cameron Northrup talking about his time here. Cameron, thanks for tuning in. That's awesome, Ms. Mesnick. Really good. I know we have some history here in Port Jervis, a long standing. I've walked down those hallways of the high school for, it seems like, a million years, and would look at the black and white photos, right? This a legacy, kind of watching like, hey, you better be doing a good job, buddy, because there's a deep tradition here in Port Jervis. And I always admire those pictures. Half the people in them. So she took some. So we're going to go take a trip down memory lane, if you'll indulge us a little bit. And we hope this all works there. Hello, Miss Brown. So we are going to try this. Share my screen. Yeah, okay. Let's see if this works. Hopefully you can see what we're seeing. I believe that is working.
Okay.
We can't even see the chat. So can someone jump in the chat? Cameron, let us know if you can see what, I think it's on there.
You got it.
Okay.
Very good.
We're going to go there. So let's start here.
1924.
That's 100 years ago.
That's 100 years ago right now. This is my grandfather. This is Luke Van Horn. This is my mother's father.
Good looking.
Right. Yep. That's my grandfather. He, I love this picture. Look at the leather helmet in his hand. This is 100 years ago. Wow. My grandfather went to Port Jervis High School, played football. Yep.
Gwinnett Field.
Yep. I believe that's where they played back then,
It's the same grass.
Yeah.
Wow. Incredible.
The next one is his 1925 do so picture. I love how they have the name
shirt,
on the
yeah.
shirt like that. Yeah.
Wow.
And what's neat, my grandfather graduated in 1926. So when my son graduates in 2026, he'll graduate 100 years after my grandfather.
My
I find that fascinating.
Incredible here. I want to make sure. Good. Yes, you can see it. Good. Okay.
Yeah. My Aunt Linda jumped in. Yes.
Yeah.
Gwinnett Field. Thank you, Aunt Linda.
Were you at the games, Aunt Linda?
This is my dad. That's my dad. He was the manager for the basketball team. And I believe that's the last time we won a division champion. We were so close this year to winning that division champion. We would have had another year put on the banner underneath 1971. So, Corey, I'm behind you. I know we got it for next year.
Yeah. Got the sweater vest there.
Sweater vest, yep.
Look at that.
Yep.
Probably got Converse on.
Converse, yep, that's Pop.
And look at those short shorts. Wow. And these all these pictures are on the wall near the gym and
yep,
the main office. And just so nice to go down memory lane here.
So that's my father in 1971. He was a left-handed pitcher for Port Jervis. And then on the right, that's him and my son. It's 50 years from the first picture to the next picture. They both pitched on the same mound at the high school, both left-handed pitchers.
I got goosebumps here. I mean, the 100, the 50 years, the lefty. I mean, it really, oh my God. And look at those incredible uniforms. They got the stirrups there.
Yep.
Wow.
I think they have Converse on there too.
Wow. Incredible.
This is, a little bit of me cheerleading throughout the first one is a backyard picture, but that was 1991. Wow. You can tell from the big hair at the time.
Back in the Aquanet hairspray.
Yeah. That was cheerleading. And the 95 and 97 pictures, those are both on the wall at the high school. 95, our team went and competed in Dallas, Texas. First time I ever went on an airplane was with my cheerleading team.
High school?
Yes,
You went to Dallas?
Yes, Dallas, Texas. Yep.
Wow.
And then 1997, we competed in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Oh my goodness.
So, two very amazing experiences. My teams, I just loved all of the people on the team. We got along so well. We would meet to practice at 5:00 in the morning at the high school. We would practice till about 6:30. Then we'd leave, go shower, and be back to class at 7:30. Wow. And then in 2011, I coached my daughter's Mighty Might teams. Yeah. So again, we're 100 years between one picture and the other. Mia? That's Mia. Oh. Yep. 50 years between one picture. This is 30 years between when I started and when I coached my daughter. All Port Jervis.
Look at the black and red there. Look at the smiles. Look at that. Incredible. Port has a lot of teams with a long, successful history, probably most famous football and wrestling. Yeah. But the cheer, I mean, for years, Ann Corcoran. And
Mrs. Corcoran was my coach.
To go back and you talk to so many people who cheered with us. And now Chris Addy is carrying on the tradition.
Yep.
You got to feel proud to have been part of that,
Absolutely.
But then to see what they're doing.
Yes. And Chris Addy actually coached my freshman year team. Oh. So, yes, I know Chris. And I would say all the years that I was in high school, we were unbeatable. We would go, we won every OCL division every year. We would go to competition. Wow. We were unbeatable. We were a really, really good squad.
So much so they opened our school year this year at our opening day.
It made my heart so happy.
I mean, they cheered like that.
Yes, they're wonderful.
They were incredible. Yeah, there you are.
Yeah, and then I thought that was a very neat picture to put my red cap and gown next to my daughter's red cap and gown.
Mm-hmm. That is incredible. There's Mia there. It almost looks like you're holding a cigarette. That's not a big cigarette.
That is not. That is a diploma. That is a diploma.
We've eliminated smoking.
Yes, we have. That's my diploma.
And look at me. I'm giving the thumbs up.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. Incredible there. I love the black and red gowns. Oh, that was the last one.
Yes.
Okay. How do I get out of here now? A little trip down memory lane. I hope you enjoyed that and that you were able to see that. A lot of history. Yeah.
Absolutely. Wow. I think my family, the Van Horns, go back to the original family, the Gamars. We go back to that family. We one of my relatives married into a woman from the Lenni Lenape tribe. So I mean, we are as ingrained in Port Jervis history as you can be. Yeah, I'm very proud of that.
Emily, it's been great to work with you over the past couple of years here. Certainly growing in the position. But we've also talked a lot about our families. I have teenagers. You have two teenagers here, and trying to take care of yourself during it because it's hard. Here you show up with a smile, always in your port gear and all the things going on. But behind the scenes, you work hard to take care of yourself. So tell me a little bit about your morning routine and some of the things you've been doing here in 2024 to kind of dive into your own wellness.
Yeah, sure. I think that being physically active is very important. I think it's something that you have to do. I don't think it's just enough to, walk around a little bit during the day. I think you have to be intentional about it. So my day starts at 4:00. I get up at 4:00. I go to the gym at 5 and I work out until 6, and then I come and get ready for work. So I do that 4 days during the week, and I work out on Saturdays when they open at 7. So yeah, very intentional about, my exercise, my routine.
And are you able to kind of shut the brain off a little bit in terms of you're not thinking about school during that time, or as the oxygen's going, you're like, okay, I'm going to do this and that kind of stuff?
Nope. When I'm working out, because it's the first thing I do, and as soon as I wake up, and I, do that before I go to work, my focus is on working out. When I come to work, that's why I don't work out after work, because I would have all of these things and I would make more excuses to stay here at work and just keep working. And I don't mind staying here working after school. So the fact that I work out in the morning, it's done. It's, set to my check mark column, finished for the day, and I start my day. And then all of my attention is to what I do during the day.
Was it weird for you as a mom to start going to bed before your children?
It is a little bit, because I hear them talking on their phones in their room, and I'm like, shh.
I'm going to bed.
I'm going to bed. Yeah.
I'm at that point.
Yeah.
I go to bed before all three of them. And it's a little weird. I'm kind of like, is this good parenting? But I know I got to take care of myself. Yeah. Those teenagers are up a little later than us. Wow.
Yes, they are.
Emily, this has been great. Anything that you wanted to talk about that we didn't talk about?
I don't think so. I think we covered just about everything. I'm very proud of my family here. I'm very proud of my time in Port Jervis schools in all of those different capacities, and it's life is good.
Yeah,
life is good, and we just keep moving forward. And I'm very thankful for that.
I don't even want to call them employees. We have so many stakeholders here, people who care so deeply about the community. You are certainly one of them, but that pride is evident. I no matter where I go around, people come up to me, whether they went to summer camp up here, they just come out of the woodwork of people having a connection to this community.
Yeah. It's a great place to be.
Cool.
Yes.
Well, you're principal here, Miss Mesnick, 3rd year. We want to be where our feet are, but do you ever look to maybe go to central administration or be in a different position? Is that something that you think about?
As of right now, I would say no. I absolutely love my job. And the best part of my job is the interaction with the children. And I think anytime you go past that, you don't have as much of that personal connection with the children and the interaction. But again, I was a teacher for 17 years before I became an administrator. And I never thought I would go here. I loved teaching. I loved my time in the classroom. And when it was time, it was time, and I knew that. So I think the same thing. If I were ever to go beyond this, I'll know. But asking me right now, no. Yeah. I love where I'm at, and I love being here. I love the school, and I don't want to go anywhere else.
Nice. Dan Moore's giving you a shout out. Dan, congratulations to you. Thanks, and your family. Emily, the education now, there's a negativity that floats out there. People take shots at educators, but your daughter, in your house is going to become an educator. So you clearly have a positive attitude, a positive outlook towards that. How do we turn this vibe that's out there where teachers are leaving the profession, where there are shortages of people going into education? How do we turn that to make it a more desirable place where people do want to come and work and do want to do the things that you are doing?
Right. That's a difficult question for me because here in Port Jervis, we don't have that turnover.
Yeah.
When you notice, like,
Yeah.
I don't have any positions, everybody's staying in the last few years. Like, people stay, they enjoy working in Port Jervis. I don't have any retirements this year. I don't, my partner's school, ASK, they don't have any retirements. People are staying in the profession here. So I'm sad for what's happening in other districts, but I know that here in Port Jervis, our teachers, they are respected. People will tell me that they love their children's teachers here. So I it's hard for me to answer because I can't speak from that. Our teachers here in Port Jervis, and I know they're working extremely hard. They put everything into their lessons. It doesn't matter if they're a first-year teacher or a 25-year teacher, they jump into new things. We've got a lot of great new initiatives that we rolled out this year, and our teachers have taken that and they've run with it, and they're doing a phenomenal job with it. I don't have anybody who works in this building that would say, I've been teaching for 25 years. I'm not trying that. Not one. They try everything they're asked and they excel at it.
Yeah.
I can give somebody an idea, but they take the ball and run. They excel at it. So, I'm sad that may be happening in the profession, but I don't feel like that's happening in the profession here.
Great answer.
And our parents are wonderful too. I think they would agree with that too.
Showed up in the snowstorm last night.
To see literacy night. Absolutely.
Yeah. Project Lead the Way,
Yep.
the foundations,
Yep.
the Just Words, all
Yeah.
these great programs for our
Mhm.
kids. It's great. Emily, last question. I know you got a hard stop here for dismissal. Again, alum, parent,
Yeah.
Generations grew up, and you look at what we're about to start here with this construction, the project, Dr. Bell, throwing the pool word out there. We're looking to have a pool. So many great construction projects, new things, new hotel downtown. It's got to be rewarding to see that, not just see it, but also be somebody who is helping move that dial towards all these great things.
Yeah.
For you, what is that like for you?
Oh, it's so awesome. Like, I remember being in high school, and I remember the cheerleading team and the football team would go out to breakfast on Friday mornings. Used to be a little restaurant downtown called the Eagle's Nest. And we would all go out to breakfast. Everybody would meet there. And then you would know everybody's getting you ready for the game and cheering you on for the game. And so exciting to be at Gwinnett Field and to feel the energy from the fans. The entire stands are packed. The fans are around the end zone, to feel that energy. And then it seemed like for a while there, it had gone away a little bit. And to see it back is amazing. Like, you go down Front Street, you can have a cup of coffee. I can get a vegan meal. I can get, at all different restaurants. There's beautiful, like the bakery at Gio's and the coffee at Foundry, like the places that we have now. I can't wait to see when the new hotel is built and go have, a meal there, or like your choices,
The bagels. The bagels.
We've got more bagel
So
shops,
many
I think,
bagel
than
shops,
and they're good. Yeah, it's
Oh,
amazing.
God.
Like, I find when I say now that, I'm from Port Jervis, they're like, I went there last weekend. I went, and they'll tell me something they did here. I'm like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
It is like, what a great place to live, a great place to be. Like, we're on the edge of something wonderful. And I think the outside world has finally realized it's here, because I think they're moving here and they want to be part of that.
We've talked in a lot of our meetings about real estate and that kind of stuff, but Miss Mesnick represents this, Miss Bloom here. So proud to have her on the show here, and grateful. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. Emily, you kind of said it here. I don't want you to have to repeat yourself, but that port pride, we've heard some great definitions. We've heard some great people speak from their heart about it. And you kind of said it today, but we'll end with that question. What does port pride mean to you?
I think to some people, Port Pride is something that they do. For me, Port Pride is definitely a feeling. There are these 3 beautiful signs when you come into Port Jervis from the different directions. There's one coming in from New Jersey, there's one coming in from Pennsylvania, and there's one coming in from 209 by the high school. And when you come in the dark and they're lit up and it says the words Port Jervis, there is something that stirs in your soul when you're from here. It's very hard to explain. It's this feeling. It's a sense of security. It's a sense of being able to put in hard work. I think that people who come from here, they're not afraid to roll up their sleeves and work hard. And people that are here feel that. They stay. They raise their families here, and it's a feeling that only the people that are here know. It's just something wonderful, and I'm grateful that I get to have that.
Well, you have it and you're living it. And there are people now that are hearing it and seeing it. We're so grateful to be able to do these programs to get the word out, because it is something that we want to share. So I know we got dismissal. This has been great.
Yes.
I wish you the best on your journey.
Thank you.
Again, a shout out to your family, your children, Mia and Kevin, your husband, Kevin.
Yeah.
Great people in this community. So we thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on.
Yes, it was wonderful.
You're going to run announcements,
I got to
dismissal?
do announcements. I got to do dismissal. Yep, because the kids will let me know if I miss it.
Well, we'll get this show out there. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Leave Emily a positive comment. If you've interacted with her, she's been your child's principal or been your child's teacher, jump in the show and leave her a comment. So much to celebrate. So we are on the eve of spring break here. Are you going to be off a couple days? What's your plan here?
Yeah, off, but getting things done. I got to take my daughter prom dress shopping. So, got to do that. That's on the docket for next week.
Is she going to wear yellow like that?
I said we don't have to buy a dress. Just use the show. We've got baseball season starting. So we've got games next week. So yeah, it's a busy time, but it's a good time.
You got your winter coat for those games?
I have my winter coat and my heated blanket. Yes.
All right. Well, we're going to let you go. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. This is great. And we have teachers, leaders, just doing incredible things. So this is Miss Mesnick. We give her 2 claps here on the show. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a great spring break.
Thank you so much. And one other shout out is to my mom. She always seems to get missed. So, Mom, I know you're watching. Thank you.
We're going to sign off on the show. Miss Mesnick, can I get a go Port?
Go Port.
See you, friends.